Depositors formed long lines in the sidewalks and streets outside their banks long before doors were unlocked at noon local time, anxiously awaiting access to their accounts. The banks were scheduled to stay open just 6 hours, with customers only allowed to withdraw $383 a day.
I mean, people should be scared, very scared, the population, because what you're seeing in Cyprus is 1923. In Eurozone style, They have passed a red line. That red line is that no one is safe, that whatever money you have, they will take to save their bankrupt financial system. So what is happening in Cyprus will happen everywhere within the next weeks or months, if not sooner, because the entire system is disintegrating before our eyes. So let me just say what you're seeing in Cyprus and what you're going to see elsewhere. Now this morning, today, the banks opened at 12 o'clock. Last night, they had to airlift from Frankfurt 5 billion euros worth of cash, of euro cash. It was delivered in trucks that were carrying, steel shipping containers filled with what will soon be worthless euro currency. Bring it to be distributed at the bank, so when people line up to get money, they're going to be getting cash, because now it's a cash economy, because you can't use your checks, you can't use your credit cards, so you can only use cash, but you're only allowed to withdraw 300 euros worth of cash a day. I mean, if you have a family, you have rent to pay, if you want to take all your savings out and put it in another bank, you cannot do that. And you don't know whether you're going to have that 300 euros next week, 300 euros a day next week, because there's so much uncertainty and fear that the entire Cypriot system will collapse because of this crisis and the way it's being handled. Now today, a German banker from Commerzbank, which was a bank that was in fact bailed out, came out with a story saying that in Italy, Italians are more wealthy than Germans, which of course is not true, and therefore Italians' wealth should be taxed 15% in order to pay for a bailout, right? So now they're talking about Italy going through the same process. Italy's an enormously, it's the third largest economy in the Eurozone. France has come into question. The Cypriot foreign minister was interviewed the other day, and he described how the meeting took place at the Eurozone. At the Eurogroup, where they made these decisions. They said that the decision was pushed hardest by the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the European Central Bank, and Germany. France was not pushing it. France was not opposing it, because he said France feels that it could be next after Italy, in terms of going into a crisis like Italy and Spain. So the idea that this is going to end in Cyprus, I think very, very few people believe that. Another example is Slovenia. Slovenia is it's one of the smallest countries in the Eurozone, but people are saying now that within weeks they are going to be the next case. So this is not going to end. It demonstrates that in order to save this Eurozone, they will do anything. And that includes, as I say, taking whatever resources, whatever personal wealth you have. Because now it doesn't matter if you have 500,000 euros in the bank. Even if it's a good bank, you can only take 300 euros out a day. So this is the situation, and you're going to see this if Glass-Steagall is not implemented, and the reforms that the LaRouche movement has been talking about for the last years now. If Glass-Steagall is not implemented immediately, you're not only going to see this in the Eurozone, you're obviously going to see it in the United States. If the IMF and the European central banks are the ones that are pushing this the hardest, you certainly know that the Fed is right up there, and this is what will happen.
So in the middle of all of this unraveling, Jacques Chaminade was given an interview in a major Greek paper. Can you tell us more about that?
So the interview appeared in a paper called Hellada, which means Greece in English, and it was with Jacques Chaminade, former French presidential candidate, the leader of the LaRouche movement in France, the Solidarité Progrès, and this newspaper is nationally read nationally. It's distributed throughout Greece, and it's read by people who oppose the bailout policy, are very, very opposed to what the European Union is doing, and are probably the people who want Greece to leave the euro. So the interview was published under the headline, "The Eurozone Supports the Banking Oligarchy." And the interview begins with Jacques' answer on what Cyprus should do at this point, and Jacques says Cyprus can be the grain of sand that changes history. And he said that what is clear, the best thing that can happen now for Cyprus is for all the Eurozone countries to break up the currency and go back to their single currencies, implement a Glass-Steagall reform of their financial system, establish credit institutions that will finance our program for Mediterranean development and integration into the Eurasian land bridge. He makes it quite clear that the future for Europe is in a Eurasian alliance for economic development. He develops these ideas further. So it's very, very important coming out at this moment, because the whole question, in Greece in particular, the people have been terrified about being thrown out of the euro, and now they've seen how Cyprus was rescued so it could stay in the euro, and people are obviously asking themselves the question: is it worth staying in the euro? They're seriously considering now the reality that they have to leave. I mean, it's significant. Polls have been taken in different countries in the last days. In Poland, which was in line to join the Eurozone, 2/3 of the population said no, we don't want to join. And in the Netherlands, which is one of the hardcore Eurozone countries, 2/3 of the population said that they oppose the euro. And in Greece itself, 2/3 of the population now opposes the euro. So in this environment, people are searching for answers, and the fact that Jacques, as the representative of the LaRouche movement, is able to intervene in this situation, I think is quite exciting and extremely important at this moment.